Hello, everybody. It's TNRP podcast, and the date is April the 7th, and the year is 2025. And this is about the Department of DOGE that was founded under President Trump's second term, which is uh, and Elon Musk was appointed to run the DOGE Department of DOGE. Uh, so he is the head of the department. He is now exposed the corruption of the United States politicians, largely, should I say, Democrats, but irrespective of parties, it's the Democrats who are protesting. So it doesn't take much to realize they are the culprits. Uh, they are panicking, and Elon Musk recently has come out and said that his life is under danger, and there had been several death threats. So that will you can clue into what's going on. And having said, without any further ado, let's listen to Elon Musk himself. Here you go.
Says he's now focusing on members of Congress who became, quote, strangely wealthy while in Congress.
They'll send the money overseas to one NGO, then they'll go through a bunch of them, and then I'm highly confident that a bunch of that money then comes back to the United States and lands in the pockets of the people you just mentioned. It doesn't go directly, but let's just say that there's a lot of strangely wealthy members of Congress. I'm trying to connect the dots of how did they become rich while earning, how they get 20 million if they're earning 200,000 a year.
Great.
So, how do these politicians within their term or two get so rich? What are the their salaries? How much are they paid per annum? Let's take a look at this. Speaker of the House is paid $223,500 US per annum. That is for the whole year, 12 months. And the leadership positions in the Congress, they make $193,400 in their leadership positions. And one other thing, the rank and file members, they make 174,000 US dollars per year. But how do they retire so rich, right? And that's what Elon Musk and others are trying to. Elon Musk's Department of DOGE is trying to investigate and bring the culprits to light, bring them to task. But there had been so much opposition. So, how much does the U.S. president makes as a salary? I think, subject to correction, 450,000 per annum for 12 months. 450,000, and they get another allowance, I guess, just ballpark about another 50,000 or so for incidental expenses, whatever, give or take. Just U.S. president makes only Well, I'm looking it up now. I rather be precise than being throwing ballpark figures. The salary of the U.S. president is 400,000 per year, per annum, with an expense account of 50,000. So together, let's say 450,000. And the former presidents receive a pension and other benefits when they leave office. The benefits that former presidents receive are nearly 5 million a year, with more than 40% of that cost represented by office space. The first spouse has many responsibilities, but the position does not pay a salary. Now, just by way of information, most of you probably know Trump is the first president to decline a salary. So he doesn't take a salary. He was the only billionaire who became a president. And now this is his second term. What it is they say the only other president who was a billionaire was John F. Kennedy, but he was assassinated, as you know. But he didn't get to see his billions. Why? Because his father was a billionaire. When he was a president, his father was alive, but John F. Kennedy was assassinated. So he didn't inherit his father's wealth. So he was a namesake, a son of a billionaire, but he didn't see the billions. But President Trump, he amassed his wealth in the real estate. He became a real estate mogul, and so very successful person in the real estate in US. And he doesn't need the money. He openly says it. And in fact, he lost money in the elections. Largely, he was funding his. Nobody wanted to see the lobbies, the large mega corporations, and the conglomerates, and the oligarchs hiding behind the public eye or the limelight, funding not just in America, all over the world, except maybe in China and Russia. It's different because we don't want to get into that. Just suffice to say, China is a communist country, Russia is as a socialist country. But more Russia and even India largely made a big shift, and because there had been 78 socialist countries, I think. All of them did not see the light of the day because economy. Socialism sounds good. It's more like intoxicating, hopeful theory. More like people get high. It's like religion. It gives you hope. But what socialism is, see, money has to be multiplied. Only a business mind knows how to multiply. You need the business brains and the EQ and whatever. There are different kinds of intelligence, but a legal brain is different from a business brain. So the politicians are largely go to law school and they become politicians, and they know the law and they know how to hoodwink the law, find the loophole. So that's how they are able to, without getting caught within the loopholes of the law, they are able to steal. Steal sounds crude word, but it's worse than stealing. It's plundering the wealth of the public, the people's money and the resources of the country. Do you call them patriots? In my books, they are called traitors, and they take an oath to serve the people, but that's not what they do. They're plundering the people's wealth. So that's how it is. But in socialist countries, they cannot, hand over the. It's like you hand over when there is a till, when everybody puts money, you elect a few people, and give the the money coffers to them to take care of it, to entrust them with your money, the money that you contribute living in the country by way of taxes. And you know what happens? They steal. They just loot. In socialist countries, the simple difference is money should be multiplied, and the politicians do not know that. They know how to steal, and they may have good ideas, good people, some of them, but they don't know how to multiply the money. Investment, they have the legal brains. not the business brains. But the money has to be multiplied. In socialist countries, what happened? What happens? It's not multiplied. It's distribution. The biggest focus is on distribution of wealth for everybody to make it very equitable. So distribution, the money drains the coffers, and it's not multiplying. And all these 78 socialist countries now they were the people suffered so much. That's why they flee from any opening to get away from their country to come to the West capitalist countries. They wouldn't think twice. So enough about that. But now, so let's take a look. The only president who lost money after serving his first term is Donald Trump. Seems to be. It just is recorded wealth, or the estimated wealth at the time before becoming the president, was said to be 3 billion, and after serving the presidency it became 2.3 billion. So understandable. He didn't have the lobbyists. The lobbyists largely contribute to the Liberal Democrat Party, and the establishment virtually owned by them. So, and Trump decided to oppose them, and he had to finance largely his campaign. And now we move on to the other presidents. Okay, now we are looking at Barack Obama. Before he became the president, his estimated wealth was 1.3 million. After serving 2 terms, his wealth jumped to 70 million, and some say 80 million. Anyways, so this, conservatively speaking, 70 million. George W. Bush, that's Bush Jr., his estimated wealth was said to be 20 million before he took office, and then after serving 2 terms, his wealth increased twice. His estimated wealth became 40 million. Now we are moving on to Bill Clinton. Before he came into office, his estimated wealth was said to be 1.3 million, and after leaving office, his estimated wealth became 241.5 million. That's a real... Okay, you decide. Oh, okay. Now we have George H.W. Bush Sr. And before coming into office, his estimated wealth was said to be 4 million. And when he left office, his estimated wealth was 23 million. We are looking at coming to Ronald Reagan. Before becoming president, his total wealth was said to be 10.6 million. Oh, it's only 5 million has gone up after retiring from presidency. His estimated wealth was said to be 15.4 million. Jimmy Carter. Jimmy Carter was said to be before becoming president 2.3 million. After leaving office, 10 million. So anyway, that would suffice to illustrate the point. But how do they make money? And their annual salary is like, right now it's 450,000, and they get I guess some kind of stipend, or some kind of how do you call this, some kind of additional payment of 50,000 incidental expenses or whatever you call it. And yeah, uh, so give or take, let's say 500,000 a year, a little over. How do they multiply this? Is like several 100% times. uh, that's what Elon Musk is getting into with his DOGE department. How do these people make money? So it's largely by way of taking the tax dollars and by way of donations to foreign countries. It's called NGOs. NGOs. For those who are not familiar with the acronym, it stands for non-governmental organizations, and they usually do it. They seems that way. Uh, Donate the money, send the money to NGOs in foreign countries, and that way they can. It's easy to evade scrutiny too. So Elon Musk read this, and actually, President Donald Trump, when Elon Musk exposed this, President Donald Trump read. I made a note of it. That said, let's take a look. I'm going to be quick with this without going into any, ad, trying to say, put my 2 cents worth into it. Fraud and corrupt spending by White House. 71 million on old age security payment for dead people. Perpetually unchecked. It's relentlessly being carried out, and for people who are much older than any human being had ever lived. People who are 110 years to 120 years to 150 years and so forth. In one case, payments were going out to someone who is 350 years old. That is older than America, United States of America itself, because United States was founded on July 4th, 1776. So that, to be precise, now United States, America, is 249 years old. But someone who is 350 years old, almost 100 years older than United States itself, is getting pension. It's going pension payments being received by this unknown fictitious character or whatever, and it's unchecked. It's being money is being sent out regardless. That's pension. A total of 6,054,000 for people who are between 90 and 99 years old. It's perpetually. People who are between 120 and 129 years were sent a total of so far 30,472,000. And then people who are between the age of 130 to 139 years have been receiving $30,936,000. That's people's money anyways. And people who are 140 to 149 years old, it's quite obvious these people don't exist. And were receiving 30,542,000. People who are 150 and 159 years old were sent how much? 10,345,000. People who are 160 to 169 years old were sent, okay, that's a smaller amount, 121,000. As the age goes on, increases, the number of recipients goes down, because nobody ever lived this long. People who are 170 to 179 years old have been receiving $6,078. People who are 200 to 209 years old receiving, they're estimated to be 879 people between the ages of 200 and 209. The amount is not I think I forgot to read, so I didn't take it down. And then the next is people, 866 people are said to be 200 and between 210 and 219 years old. They had been receiving money, not indicated. And then 1039 people are said to be between 220 and 229 years old, and they have been receiving money. It's not indicated here. And two people are said to be 240 between 240 and 249 years old. They have been getting money for how long, I don't know. And one person who is older than United States of America itself, said to be 360 years old, he has been getting money. I guess it just to this day is getting money probably. And that said, the next is investments going to NGOs. And how it is done, you send it to NGOs and their kickbacks. They send it back. A good portion of the money sent to them comes back to the sender. And I guess that's the agreement. And that's how this questionable activity is carried out. In the contractors do that. They get the contract, and the contractor, the person who is contracting, usually an official who is in charge of the budget, he will make private negotiations with the contracting company. We will pay, let's say the contracted amount, the work would cost, I'm just random, $100,000 or $120,000. They will say, okay, just you have to bill us for, invoices should reflect 425,000, and we will pay you 425,000. You take your 100,000, and the balance you have to return it, remit it to these accounts, which can evade scrutiny. So that's how it is done. That activity is called kickbacks. There's, I guess, more than one way to do it. I'm just telling you the one that I have seen happening with contractors. Nobody talks about it. So, anyways, continuing this list of DOGE, Elon Musk's, as exposed, 520 million for investments in Africa, for private sector in Africa. It's a consulting firm, environmental in business. I don't know what it is. 25 million for biodiversity conservation for lizards, livelihood of lizards in Colombia by developing socially responsible behavior. Wow, to protect the lizards. So the American politicians are very concerned about not anything else, but the lizards, in protecting the lizards in Colombia. So they have donating money for this NGO of 25 million to protect the lives of lizards. 40 million to improve the social and economic improvement for the inclusion of sedentary migrants. Sedentary, it means you're sedentary, you're not doing anything, you're not working. So for the inclusion of these sedentary migrants, they have set aside or given delegated $40 million. 42 million for the Johns Hopkins for research on behavioral changes in Uganda. The institution is known as Research and Drive Social Behavior Change in Uganda. The next one is 70 million for a center at Peru for a university source for development of mentally challenged in Peru. 70 million. 10 million for Mozambique, voluntary medical male circumcision. Wow, the American politicians are very concerned about the African country called Mozambique, and the male circumcision worries the American politicians, so they donate the people's tax money, voluntary tax money for the male circumcision. And the next one, 9.7 million for UC Berkeley, develop a cohort Cambodian youth with enterprise driven skills. So for Cambodia, 9.7 million. The next one is 2.3 million for strengthening the independent voices in Cambodia. Wow. 2.3 million. The next one is again 32 million for liberal people. What does it say? Proximal Society Center. Is it in Cambodia? I don't know. Because is it US? I don't know. It's not clear. And then the next one is 14 million for improving public procurement in Serbia. You know what? The former Yugoslavian country, Serbia. And the next one is 486 million to the Consortium for Elections and Political Process Strength in order to strengthen in our process. Let me read that again. 486 million to the Consortium for Elections and Political Process Strengthening and including 22 million for inclusive and participatory political process in Moldova. Moldova is one of the former US countries, former Soviet Union, part of Soviet Union, former country. Soviet Union, Russia had 14 countries under them, and it was collectively known as, today we have European Union, and that Russian Union was known as Soviet Union. They destroyed the Soviet Union and formed the European Union. Anyways, all that is apart, Moldova was the smallest of the 14 countries. The biggest of the 14 countries was Ukraine. Ukraine was the hub of Soviet Union. In fact, even the nuclear factories in Chernobyl and everything, that was in Ukraine. Apart from that, now getting back to this, 21 million for voter turnout in India. Wow, the American politicians are very concerned about India's voter turnout. But they don't want American politicians are concerned about Indian voter ID, voter turnout, but they don't want voter ID and what do you say? They don't want anybody to check voter IDs, and they want everybody to vote in American elections. Right? That's liberals. And when President Trump implements the voter ID and trying to regulate the corrupt voting system, the anomalies, they are raising a hue and cry now. And then the next one is 20 million for fiscal federalism in Nepal. They're worried about not only India, Nepal too. 20 million to Nepal. 19 million for biodiversity again in Nepal. So that's together 39 million. And 1.5 million for voter confidence in Liberia. They're not worried, American politicians are not worried about the voter confidence in US, but they are worried about voter confidence in Liberia, African country. 14, again, the next one, 14 million for social cohesion in Mali. That's an African country. 2.5 million for inclusive democracies in South Africa. Wow. And then the next one is 47 million for improving learning outcomes in Asia. They're not worried about the learning outcomes in US. They're worried about learning outcomes in Asia. Asia is by far doing, when it comes to education, they are far, I shouldn't say this, Americans would, I don't mean to, I will refrain from saying anything. $2 million to develop sustainable recycling models to increase socio-economic cohesion among marginalized communities in Kosovo, Escali, and Egypt. I mean, Egypt, it's North Africa, but Kosovo, former Yugoslavian country, US bombed in the early 90s. Well, that's another whole topic. This is just part of the list. Trump, Elon Musk, DOGE exposed, and we'll stop right there.